Hello, Andy. This is Colin. I won't be able to get in tonight. I'm sweating like a pig. I'm sweating like a pig.
Hi, David back, One Up Gaming, episode 349 of the One Up Gaming podcast. We're going to go through the games we've been playing this week. So, without further ado, we will go straight into the games, and that is the first one, Siphon Filter 2. Now, I didn't see much improvement from the original Siphon Filter. I think the game structure and levels and everything was built with the first game, and the engine and everything, it might have been a little bit more optimized, a little bit smoother, but the grand scheme of things, it was almost it was like a Siphon Filter 1.5, just mission packs. But I do think certain games were like that back in the 90s, whereas they got the engine made and then they went into the actual, just every year they released like number 2, number 3, number 4. You know, they don't have enough time to build all the features that they want, and they just go into it and make games. I will mention that I've also played Siphon Filter 3, and again, very similar, but like all the other games in the series, they added like mountainy bits, snowy bits, more actiony bits, more stealthy. You know, they just add little bits in, but again, as the grand scheme of things go, it's very similar to the first game and the second game. There's still a really good little game series to play really well. They look nice, especially on the PS1, and I'm not sure what happened to the series, because I think that they were doing well. I'd have a guess, in a weird way, the Uncharted series took a lot of its ideas and, you know, the mechanics of how it plays, and I guess that series just took off and they didn't need the Siphon Filter games anymore. So, moving on, Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. Now this one I played on the PSP, and I mean I played it on the PS5, you know, through the backwards compatible malarkey stuff that they do with the game, where you can actually play like the retro games through the PS5. And I don't know if it's just that the button configurations are all wonky, or if something's just not right, but the game was nigh on unplayable. The control schemes were just mental. I just didn't have a clue what the hell was going on, what buttons did what. It just didn't play smoothly enough. It just didn't look what I thought it would look like. It was better than the PS1 games, but it was just a shoddy game, and this could have been the start of the end for the Siphon Filter series, where it was just bad. You know, it just played really, really bad.
Over the world. The trail will lead me.
You two worked together, right?
To my own past.
She's hiding something.
I know. This time, we do it my way.
So I guess we'll move on to the next game, completely different series, Jumanji the video game, and this is based on the newer Rock, Jack Black, Killian, I don't know what her name was, the girl who plays the blue android in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and the one who used to be the Doctor Who's assistant, River Rose? What was that? I don't know, was that? No, Rose was the singer, Billy Piper. My knowledge of Doctor Who is failing badly. So, this is a third-person co-op game where it's like waves against enemies, and you have to pick up crystals, move them to a point to open doors, collect things to open other doors. The idea is good, but I just don't think that the franchise has got enough cachet with fans to have enough players in the game server, game world at all times to actually populate enough players into the world. It played okay, it looks a little bit janky, but it's going for that cartoonified look. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's not bad, so I would just sort of say it's an adequate game. If you and your friends want to get together, it's a nice little knockabout game that you can just play and just not think about things. Next game, Ace Racer, and this one was recommended on my Facebook page, so I guess they paid money to advertise. It's a racing game. It looked very sleek, very smart. It's got real licensed vehicles, and I downloaded it and I was playing it on my iPhone 14 Pro Max, I think it is, and the loading's atrocious. There's popping, there's as the game's loading, the texture's popping, and it's got freezes and stutters, and it's just a really bad experience. The game, I loved the idea, I loved the progression system, I love all that, but the actual gameplay itself is so flawed, it's broken. So as it stands, I would not recommend this game. It looks nice, but because of the frame rate and the stutters and the tearing and the freezing, it's just pointless at the moment. It is a pointless game. Next up, in the UK the game was called Crushy. In other regions I think it was called IQ, Intelligent Cube. And this one is a very simple looking puzzle game where a row of blocks are rolling towards you, and in that row there is 3 or 4 that are like gold, I believe, I'm colourblind, but are like glowing, and you have to put a marker on the floor that when the blocks rotate onto the next floor, then the next floor, as it sort of goes if you've highlighted the correct square with the correct block falling onto it, then it disappears, and then it like takes that row of blocks out, and it's a bloody good little game. It might look very basic, but for the PS1 it's a really good, addictive little game, and I would really recommend it. And the last game that I've been playing this week is the new Xbox exclusive Redfall, and I went into this with an open mind. When they said it was like it's 30 frames a second on the Xbox Series on consoles, I was like, I don't care about frames. As long as it's... I think it'd play better at a locked 30 frames a second than if it was trying to get to 60 frames a second. But it kept going from 60 down to 25, 35, back up to 60, and it kept fluctuating. So I think that makes it a much more jarring experience. If it's a locked, set frame, I think you can get accustomed, you can get used to it. And the graphics weren't the best, the detail wasn't there. I know it's going for that cartoonified look, but a lot of the enemies look the same, a lot of the characters look the same, a lot of the sort of like things that happen, it's just not the most fun gameplay experience. I do like the mantling, so you can run around and jump up and climb up stuff, but it's a 4-player co-op game where you're trying to kill vampires, and I just don't think that it's being thought through correctly. I think the Arcane are best at the single player story focused sort of games, so I don't know why they decided, or if they were asked, to make a multiplayer focused game. I don't know if that was just because Microsoft or Bethesda said, get this game out quick, focus on fast paced co-op gameplay, and then if the franchise takes off we can add like the single player story components later on as DLC. But we'll never know, because I think this game has come out and it's been a failure as it came out. We'll see what updates happen, what DLCs they add to it, how Microsoft try and keep this game going, but we'll see. We have a review up on the website, which is Heist Kitty. I mean, I always want to say Hello Kitty, but it's not, it's Heist Kitty. So please look at our YouTube channel, our website for that. We have our Gran Turismo 7 series, as always, up. And I think that is about it for the weekly series. So I guess we'll have a quick break and we'll come back with this week's news.